Hello and welcome. This is Captain Aquarius coming to you doing business again as Dan First on May the 2nd of 2017 from Hamburg, Germany. I'm going to tell you a little bit here about two videos. One is the other one that I will be making within the next few days, which will be about the full moon that is coming on May the 10th and 11th. This video is a special one which is being done now mainly to highlight astrocartography and specifically the astrocartography of health, because we are looking forward now to the last of the three webinars in the astrocartography series that began in January with your money power places and then continued in March with your erogenous zones, the astrocartography of love relationships, and then the concluding webinar in this trio coming on Friday, May 26th from Munich, Germany, is going to cover your sacred wellness zones. As you can see in this image here, you can join the webinar at any time, and it may still be of good value to you even to join for only the third webinar in the series. You see how to do it if you follow the link to mapsofpowerbook.com. This will guide you through the steps that you need to take to enroll in the webinar, and by all means join us. This is going to be a wonderful experience. They get better and better as I and my colleague Bev Buckley, my teacher in the art of doing these things online, get better and better at what we are doing. So even though I hesitate, of course, to suggest that I'm good at anything, I resonate with the line from the Mahabharata, which goes, "No worthy man speaks in praise of himself." The fact is, the webinars have gotten better just because we've gained more experience about how to do them more smoothly. And so this one is likely to be the best one in the series, partly because it has the benefit of the trial and error, the mistakes, the advantages that we've gained from doing the other ones. So come and join us on May 26th if you'd like to learn something about the astrocartography of health. Now, the association of health with astrology is an enormous topic, as you can imagine, just as issues as important to us as love, as learning, as creativity, even though they may be associated mainly with one or two zodiac signs or planets, are really so large in their scope that they can't be really confined to any one planet or to any one zodiac sign. Everyone who has studied astrology a little bit has eventually come across images like the one that you see here, which has one of the endless diagrams that identify the zodiac signs arrayed in the physical body of the person, with Aries at the head, Neptune at the feet. And some of this, of course, makes sense. Taurus, which is the sign ruled by Venus, is connected with the sense organs of sight and smell and taste and hearing, so it's located at the head. And the sign of Cancer, which you see just above the breasts here, is appropriate because it is the maternal sign, and the sign of Leo, of course, is associated with the heart. So there is some advantage to this, and there is some truth to it, as has been clear to us since the Middle Ages. And more recently, there has been more sophisticated emphasis on the associations between specific body systems and planets. For example, that the sun and the sign of Leo are associated with the heart and the blood and the circulatory system, that the planet Mars is associated with the muscular system, Saturn with the skeletal system and the teeth, and so on. Other things like this, Uranus associated with the nervous system, so that when this planet is afflicted, people may indeed be in danger danger of nervous stress and exhaustion. But the figure we're going to concentrate on here, more than any other, is Chiron the Wounded Healer, the famous figure from Greek mythology who is associated naturally with people whom you know, and you may even be one yourself, as I am, who have a certain ability, even may have a marvelous talent for healing everybody but themselves. The figure of Chiron not only implies a great deal of skill in the healing of other people, as you can see with the famous figure of Chiron who looks like a centaur but is not. The other video I will make this month will tell you more about the mythology of this figure. The um, Chiron the Healer figure is shown here with the one who will become famous as the great warrior Achilles, because the kings of Greece thought that Chiron was so wise that they sent their sons to him to be taught in the various arts of peace and war. As you can see, Chiron is instructing Achilles in how to make music with the lyre, and the boy, as you can see, is not very entertained with this. He's thinking, all right, enough with the music, when do we get to the sword? But the fact is, Achilles was the most skilled of all the Greeks as a wound dresser at Troy because of what he had learned from Chiron the Healer. So the figure of Chiron not only can embody our ability to act as a healing force in the lives of other people, and so naturally this planet will apply to people who indeed are engaged in holistic health practice, but also is associated with our own wound, whatever that is. Because, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's got them, whatever it is. The chironic wounds that are the most grievous and the most commonly felt by people, as you know, are the wound of the missing love relationship, or the grief for a love relationship that has collapsed and is no longer there, because we all long to love and be loved. And the other grievous chironic wound is the undiscovered purpose and the underutilized gift. And this is why Chiron is so often associated with journeys of transformation, with the experience of going to a particular place for the purpose of finding out what it is within our entire holistic energy field that may be manifesting physically as illness, may be manifesting in some other way as lack of clarity, indecisiveness, lack of motivation, inability to move on whatever is important to us, whatever it is. And this is why it happens so often in the work that I do as an astrocartographer, reading for people about their best places to live, their best places to build love relationships and other relationships, their best places to travel, will often concentrate on maps like the one that you see here. As you notice, this is a map of Spain, and it is drawn here for a person who is contemplating a journey to the famous pilgrimage site of Santiago de Compostela, which is located there, as you can see in the map, in northwestern Spain. Compostela literally means the field of stars, because it was said that the night sky is so brilliant here that the stars actually seem to dance. And so that one of the great joys of doing the Camino, the pilgrimage to this place, was to be rewarded in the end after all of this experience and all of the sacrifices and the challenges of the journey by foot that can take you through something like 600 miles, was to see at last the field of stars at night. Needless to say, people who are doing this kind of journey are sometimes going to encounter their own issues and challenges and very profound concentrations, you see, on the things that they need to discover in order to work out their own wounds, whatever they are, and come to a point of enlightenment and freedom. Now, the basics about astrology are too complex, really too much to cover here right now. Let's only say for this point that the 4 planet lines that you see here each represent a specific planet, and each one is pointing in a specific direction. The Uranus line, the purple one in the east near Valencia, has an arrow pointing west, which is the direction of relationship. The opposite line on the other side of the country, the yellow sun line, very close to Lisbon, but also well within range of Santiago de Compostela, has an arrow pointing to the east, which is the direction of our self-expression. The same is the case with the Chiron line that you see right in the middle of the country, to the west of Madrid and the west of Valladolid. And there's a 4th line, the yellow Saturn line, pointing down to the bottom of the map. If you were to travel the entire Camino, let's say going from the area of Tarragona or the area of Barcelona, even farther to the east, and you were to travel to the west across this map, that is, going through the northern part of the country, through cities like Burgos in particular that you see in the north center of the country, then naturally you would be traveling under all 4 of these lines. And this is a particular set of lines that can be valuable for mapping out what is likely to be a particular pilgrimage scenario in which the person is starting in the east, traveling close to the Uranus line. Each line is powerful within a range of maybe 300 lines. And so this is the line of change, of revolution, of innovation, and the arrow on it is pointing to the west. So this, at the beginning of the journey, as often is typical with pilgrimages like this, can involve a great deal more active social experience and communication among the people. Our emphasis is largely directed outward toward the new people we are traveling with and our communications with them. Once we get to the end of the journey, that is, and we are near Santiago de Compostela, and we are close to that sun line, that is the line of our life force, vitality, creativity, leadership, the way we shine in the world. And so, naturally, this is what we hope for at the end of the pilgrimage, to come to this point, which is such a wonderful culmination to what we've done. However, the lines in the middle are the crucial ones, because the line of Saturn is serious. It is introverted. It is very much internal. It's pointed down to the bottom of the map, to the most basic issues of how we handle life and survival on the earth plane. And it is crossing in this area a green line of Chiron the Healer, the line having an arrow pointing east, which means that this is very likely to be connected with some kind of wound in the area of our self-expression. So a person traveling the Camino on this set of lines would have to be handling somewhere in the middle the questions of how do I support my life on the earth plane? Am I being authentic? And am I being honest to my own purpose and sacred contract in the way that I support my life in physical terms? You see, because when a Saturn line is pointing to the bottom of the map, it is focused to the basic practical dimension of our life on the earth plane, how it is that we handle matters of money and home and the physical body and so on. And so when this line is crossing a Chiron line, and as you can see, one line has an arrow pointing down, another has an arrow pointing east. This means that these 2 planets in this person's birth chart are angled roughly at 90 degrees to each other, which means that these 2 planets are in a relationship that can be called one of disharmonious tension. This is a difficult life choice, needless to say, that this person has made within their sacred contract. This as an important challenge that they have set themselves here to overcome during their lifetime. And the emphasis here should be very strongly on the fact that, that an astrology chart is not static or fatalistic or deterministic. It is dynamic and opportunistic. There is no such thing as a difficult condition that cannot be addressed successfully in time with the appropriate amount of effort and, frankly, the appropriate amount of love. So, what is going to happen in this journey, then, interestingly enough, is that as this person travels across Spain from the eastern area near that Uranus line through the center near the Chiron and Saturn lines, and then ultimately out the other end to the west at Compostela, is that the journey is likely to begin in excitement and juice and conversation and active social flow with other people. Then it is likely to go inward, and it is likely to get a good deal more serious as we address the questions of what it is that I am doing to hold in place the wounds that I so much want to address here. This is the point in the journey, naturally, toward the middle here, when we are most likely to come to the beginning of insight about the ways in which we are causing our own problems through our beliefs, through our opinions, through other things that may now have a chance to be dislodged in the interest of enabling us to free ourselves of these limitations and ultimately come out the other end, going all the way to the west to that sun line, which is one of our very best. It is the way that we emerge into the world, the way in which our light shines forth, not only for the realization of our own energies and our own objectives, but ultimately for our ability to act in service as illuminating forces in other lives. So this will be enough for now, as just a basic taste of what astrocartography offers for purposes of a specific map like this. Naturally, if we want to explore the larger questions, where are our best places to be in the world, to live and work, to be physically in those places? Where are the places where we can develop our best relationships with supporters, backers, investors, healers, teachers, publishers, love partners? Then of course we expand to the entire world map and to places that really most favor us with our opportunities. But this, for now, is an example of how we look at one person's travel plan. I want to travel the Camino to Santiago de Compostela. What can I expect there? Well, these lines in the astrocartography map show us very clearly what to expect. So this will be it for now, everyone. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. All blessings to you until we meet again.